Mentioned, my name is Andrew Pinsler, and I work for the Today Show and what we call the Innovation Lab. So, just first things first, because it'll be useful later. If while I'm giving this intro, if you could go to, there's a page that we just created on Facebook called WineBOT Live, facebook.com/WineBOT Live. WineBOT was taken by somebody already. If you could like it, because we're going to do an experiment that will involve Facebook Live later, so it'll make it easier for you to find it. For those of you who are like, I don't want to like a page, I'm going to get all sorts of alerts. I'm only doing this Facebook Live here, and then I'm deleting this page. So you should not feel concerned like you're going to get harassed by me or by the Today Show by signing up for this. It's just for this live, and then we're good to go. So, and I'll leave that up there while I'm talking. So, I just thought I should quickly first explain what it is that you'll be getting out of this session. So I built this for the show, and I'll explain what it is later, but I just thought that as a basic idea that you should understand, like, as much as possible, I'm going to show you how I built it and this technology we used. I'm not going to go sort of deep dive into either pieces of how it was built, because mainly I'd like you to be able to come away from this with sort of some basic building blocks to go build something yourself. Much in the way that you might get sort of a more basic recipe as opposed to a very complex recipe that you want to sort of add your own flavor to. I don't want you guys to go out and just make lots and lots of WineBOTs. That's not great for me. That's not great for you either. So I just wanted you to see like the basic idea of how we put this together, a little bit of why we put this together, and in the hopes that it inspires you to build stuff, because it's one of those things that I guess seems really hard, but I think wasn't very hard at all. And so I'm hoping that you'll be sort of actually genuinely surprised at how simple this all is to actually do. So again, just because I feel like I have to explain this sometimes, I know some of you are not from the United States, as well as there are apparently a lot of millennials who just don't have television. The Today Show is a morning news program on NBC. You may be more familiar with the earlier morning hosts who are, or rather anchors, who are Matt Lauer and Savannah Guthrie, and Al Roker, who does the weather. But something that tends to surprise people who aren't huge fans of the show is the Today Show is actually 4 hours long. It goes from 7 a.m. until 11 a.m. And so the thing that I built, this WineBOT, is for the last hour of the show, the 10 o'clock hour, which is hosted by Kathie, Gifford, and Hoda Kotb. The earlier hours of the show, which you may be more familiar with, if you are familiar with it, are much more sort of hard news, and as the hours and time progresses to later in the morning, it turns into a little bit more of a talk show. So you'll get sort of the hard news at 7 o'clock and sort of like updates from what happened on The Bachelor during the 10 o'clock hour. And so also I should explain that Kathie Lee and Hoda drink wine during the show. You just have to take that as a given. There's a much longer presentation as to like how that came about, and you can actually, I think they talked about it in other articles. You can Google it, but it's just been sort of, it's a light, much more of a talk show, and so they drink wine, and Hoda usually drinks red wine, and Kathie Lee usually drinks white wine, which will then help explain how this all works with the show. So rather than explaining the WineBOT, I will actually just show you. This is the very first time we used this, and it was about a year and a half ago.
All righty, we're going to play our WineBOT question. Now it's time. All right, so pay attention to the story, and then we're going to tell you how to do this. Okay. So a dad of a 12-year-old girl is making some news because his daughter showed up late for school. He dropped her off late, and the reason was because he was at a Springsteen concert. With her? With her. He took his two daughters to that. So instead of saying something else, he told the truth. And he said... It lasted 3.5 hours. We're sorry. And anyway, so there was apparently a little bit of blowback from the school about the fact that you're taking your kid out to a concert late and then the kid shows up late. So the question is, and this is where the WineBOT comes in, the question is it okay to take your kid out of school for an event unrelated to school? Is it okay to take your kid out of school for an event unrelated to school? You say yes. Why? Make your case.
I would say, well, yes, because my parents did it for me when I was growing up. Frank and I took our kids all over the world when we had an opportunity to have an experience outside the classroom that would be huge and would change their life. Definitely. Education doesn't just come within a school wall.
Okay, that was a great thing. I said, now my parents were old school because they really didn't, we never missed school. We used to have to go if we weren't feeling 100% great. There was none of that stuff.
Okay.
So I say, look, your kids that need to go to school, and this, think about this though, the guy took them to a concert out late that night, and then they came into school, so now it feels like, oh, it's okay to show up late.
That wasn't the question, though. The question was,
I'm just adding to my argument.
You have a major argument.
My argument is it's not okay. So just do this. Go to Twitter, and this is important. Go to KLG and Hoda on our Twitter thing, and this is what you have to do.
Yes,
you
on our
have to
Twitter.
hashtag Team Hoda.
No, you don't.
That's what? Or you can hashtag or Team KL.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Okay.
All
right. But look at how is this happening? Come on,
Look
come
at
on,
this.
people.
Look at
okay,
this.
so what happens is as you hashtag,
This is my favorite new thing ever.
as you hashtag, our wine glasses fill up. Come on, people, show me some love. No, we're not stopping. We are not stopping. Okay, look, I think look. Why don't you go ahead and take your kid out of school for everything? Maybe you need Disney World.
I didn't say
it's
that.
Fine.
I would rather.
The memory that the kid has with the parents will far exceed those couple of hours in the classroom.
Come on,
Yes!
listen, who has the money and the means to keep taking their kids everywhere? Give me some red
My
wine.
parents didn't. My parents
Some
didn't have the
red.
money. They didn't have the money, but they found a way to take us everywhere.
Glasses.
Yeah, we
Look,
went-
okay, we're there. This is so exciting.
It almost
Okay.
looks like an
It was
udder.
so wonderful. I still remember vividly my mom saying, "Let's play hooky today."
Oh,
And we went shopping, and we went to a movie, and we had a sundae.
See,
Oh, look,
see the
everyone's
love.
going shopping and to the movies.
Okay.
Barbara Streisand.
I think I'm winning at just thing.
No, I'm catching up.
So I think you get the basic idea. Just in case you're a little confused, friend dresser is not normally just standing there. Sometimes they have guests who stand there, and you may have noticed there was the head of a person who had slightly more hair than me. That's because this was a year and a half ago, and I had slightly more hair. And when I do this, I have to lie down on the floor of the kitchen set to hook everything up right before they get started. So that's the WineBot. Basically, with every tweet of those particular hashtags, a little bit more wine goes in each of their glasses. The thing that they sort of screwed up in the instructions, and sometimes getting them to talk about technology can be a little bit of a high wire act. You don't have to tag. You didn't have to tag at KLG and Hoda on it. You could just use the hashtags and anything you wanted. So that's that. Let me see if oops. Let me switch over to, here we are. So let me now explain to you how that all came together. So let me just make sure. So I'm going to try to, as much as possible, sorry about the wind. It's a little terrifying for me too. I guess if you've ever seen a BuzzFeed Tasty video, we're going to try to do that this way. The camera pointed down, assuming the wind doesn't knock over the camera, or I more likely will knock over the camera. So I want to show you what's basically involved. It is just powered by, I'm going to try to do some unboxing here, by an Arduino, just a regular Arduino Uno. As much as possible, so the first version involved a lot more wires, and I switched over to using seed, or I guess it's got like 3 E's in it, so maybe it's like seed. There you go. Shields, just because it made it a lot simpler, because when I had people like Fran Drescher who would look over and be like, what is that? They'd be a little less horrified when it didn't have like 137 wires coming out of it. So using the seed stuff simplified things greatly for us. And let's see what else we got here. So you need food-safe silicone tubing. And I should explain, by the way, that obviously there's a lot of wine coming out of the WineBot. They don't drink the wine that comes out of the WineBot. Those glasses hold an entire bottle of wine. They would die. And for those who are wondering, they don't like, not to ruin the magic for you guys, but they only sip the wine they have in front of them. They're not like getting sloshed by the end of the hour. So again, there's just some seed relays, if you can see that. Let me just make sure I'm seeing it that way. There we go. Seed relays. And a lot of jumper wires, and the unfortunately named wire nuts, or twist wire connectors, because I was trying to avoid using breadboards as much as possible. As you can see, part of this stuff I wanted to do a little bit of sort of unboxing for you guys, to really do this from scratch, but every time I did that, for a lot of the components, I kept hurting myself. Especially when people are watching me, my hands get a little shaky, and I really don't want to bleed on stage. So there's parts where I'm really starting from scratch, and there's parts where, sorry, I had to just sort of already spin things together because I didn't want you guys to watch me cry and bleed on stage. So sorry if that ruins the magic for you. Similarly, by the way, with the coding, I'm going to show you how some of the code works. I only took out little bits and pieces. I'm not going to live code because in addition to hurting myself with wires, apparently when people are watching me, I just can't type. And so there would just be bugs and you guys would laugh, and again, more tears on my part. So there we go. So I just want to make sure, I think we've gone through. So let me just make sure we covered all the parts. The other things that are of use are obviously we've got a couple of power adapters, and then these really useful and way too long power jacks with pigtails, so they're already sort of split out, so you don't have to worry about sort of slicing into this yourself. Which if you're brave, go ahead. I would not recommend myself. So let me put away all of these. Obviously the most important thing, of course, is the and I've already attached it to this tubing. This is a DC motor that's basically just a simple fluid siphon. So you turn it on, you hook one tube into where the fluid source is, and the other tube where you want the fluid to go. In this case, wine. You turn the motor on, and it goes. So, the other thing that I found was useful is, and by the way, you can get all this on Amazon. This is a box that's really actually meant for, I guess, people who live in like suburbs and stuff. I live in the city, so I don't really use one of these. It's meant to be like on the outside of your house, and so you can have wires that are exposed, but then not be exposed to the elements, so you can cover them. Since we're dealing with wine that can potentially spatter everywhere, I didn't want to get a lot of the components wet, so this helped cover that. But for the moment, we're just gonna play a little fast and loose and not use that today. Also useful in not freaking out the celebrity guests who are standing like inches away from it, wondering like, what the hell is that? So the first thing I want to show you guys is just one second. I just want to show you we're sort of going to graduate this from a dumb thing to a slightly smarter thing to an internet-connected thing. So just want to quickly show you what the simple version of this is if you just wanted to use the liquid siphon to just create a simple wine pump, for lack of a better word. So I've already got the wire jack. Oh, I'm realizing now that the dark table is not great for the dark wire. Sorry about that. I've already got the wire jack for the power plugged into some wires, and then here I've got just a very simple push button switch, and I'm sorry it's comically small, but the idea is instead of just plugging it directly in, which would just turn the motor on and it would be running constantly, I can sort of in between the power and the motor put in this button switch, which allows so that when I press the button, it completes the circuit, starts the motor. So if you really just wanted to create what's essentially a little mini like keg, you can just do this and not worry about any coding. So let me see if I can do this and not, again, electrocute myself, which is always fun. So we're just going to take the motor. We're going to have red to red, blue to blue. There we go. Now we're gonna see off the left, I've got this plugged in over here. So when I plug it in and I press the button, it's not working because it's not plugged in. Thank you. Sorry, hold on. Did I lose one of my wires? Shit. Yes, sorry. Oh, you can't really see this, but I don't know if you can see this, it's vibrating in my hand every time I press the button. So basically, I press the button, the motor moves, I lift my hand off, it doesn't. That's the very simple version of this. So I'm just going to get rid of all this. We're going to keep the button. And unplug this. Put this over here so I don't get distracted. And so next, I want to show you, so basically, it would obviously be pretty stupid if it was just like, hey, I'm following Twitter with my own eyes and pressing the buttons. That's not how it works, and that'd be a really bad use of my time. What it is we this is where the seed components come in. We're going to use this relay, which you can then programmatically do basically the same thing as the button pressing I was doing. It's just you send a signal to this relay through the Arduino, and it does the same thing of turning it on. In this case, I think I've got it set for 3 seconds, which I'll show you later. So basically, every time a tweet would come in, it's basically the same thing as turning on that particular pump for 3 seconds. Just try to wire this up. So similarly, and this is where I apologize, there are a lot of wires here. It's going to be might be a little harder to follow. And for the moment, I will just, to save myself some time, just put those together so I don't need it later. I'll put that over there. Again. And as much as possible, I tried to color code the wires, but sometimes you just, your pack of jumper wires does not cooperate and you run out of colors. So as much as possible, when it didn't work out, I was using these little Post-it notes, so I apologize if that seems super janky. So basically what this is I'm basically combining the two things I was doing before, which was we're going to have a relay and a separate button, because as you can tell, like these tubes are actually kind of long. An actual 3-second turn on of the pump would only reach so far. So you need to be able to still have that button to basically prime the pump. You want to make sure that before they start talking about it on the show, I need to make sure that everything's already ready to go, and I don't have to wait for 10 tweets for it to actually start coming out of the actual machine. So this is blue. So these two green wires get screwed into this relay, which will then act as a secondary switch. And this is the problem of unboxing new stuff. This screw doesn't seem to be working. But I have a spare, just in case. Let me just try this again. Okay. Screws over here. Back to black. And the button. That's where. Yellow. Yep. Yellow to yellow. And black to black. So basically, we've just completed the circuit again. We've just sort of split it so that it can be controlled by this button and by that relay. So I want to do a quick check, and here's where, again, I might electrocute myself. We want to create a good show for you guys. Okay, again, sorry it's a little harder to see. This is vibrating in my hand when I press the button. So that's how that all works, and now we get into the coding, but let me first, hold on, let me just make sure. Yeah, so this is where we start plugging things into the Arduino. So let's put the relay in here. That's the button, sorry. just going to plug the relay into one relay into D7, and I've got a secondary set of buttons that I'll explain later, but I feel like I'm running out of time. But I'll plug into D8, and again, not unlike the cooking segments we do on the show, where they do a thing where like, hey, like I have this thing, but it's going to take 20 minutes to do a casserole. But the casserole's done by the magic of television. Obviously, to do this, I need 2 pumps. I already made another one for you guys, so you didn't have to watch me do that twice, since doing it once was painful enough. Just need to make sure you're plugged into something. What happened? All right. And similarly, the secondary relay, just plug the second button in to here. And seem to be down a cord. Hold on 1 second. So similarly, I'm going to plug the other relay into D3. And hopefully that'll cooperate. There we go. So now we've got the 2 motors plugged into 2 relays and 2 buttons, all plugged into the Arduino. Now, the other thing I do to simplify things, to sort of internetify this, is I use this thing called Johnny 5, which is a Node.js package, which I'd really recommend, especially if you know JavaScript and you want to get into Internet of Things stuff and you don't want to learn Arduino code. Johnny 5 is a really great way to get started, especially just because like I can basically, you plug the what's called the standard Fermata library into your Arduino, and then you can just plug in via your regular Ethernet cord into the computer, and then it's actually the computer sending commands straight to the Arduino. So I'll show you what that looks like right now. So green light for power. All right, let me switch over to the code, not to Fran Drescher. So here, I just wanted to show quickly, this is, again, we're sort of still now, I'm just adding some code. We're not adding the internet part yet. So like I said, we're just I use, to keep things simple, I just set a variable called time to off. So I can always, if I want to make it so that it's longer or shorter, it's always the same amount. I don't have to keep typing in that variable. Because basically what you have to do is you can see, I've got this code for pressing the red siphon on for red wine. And what you have to do is you turn it on, and then because of the way that Node.js works, the best way to do it is just do a set timeout to turn it off at the time to off, which in this case is 2 seconds later. So basically every tweet would be 2 seconds of the pump being on. So the one thing I did want to so I can do, this is like the very little bit of live coding. Let's say the red button is 4. And yeah, this is great for live coding, right? I'm still gonna fuck it up. Sorry. This is why they don't let me on television. That was the relay, not the button. See, I did screw it up. The relay's on 3. This relay is on 7. This button is on 8. Did that in great order. And so basically the way this works is I've assigned these buttons. So we've got red button and white button, which are basically these two right here. And when I press them, the red button just triggers red button dot on. And then turns on the pump for 2 seconds rather, and then the white button does the same. And the beauty of this is the way that also JavaScript works is that I can press them at the same time. You don't have to worry about that. So when votes are coming in fast and furious, you don't have to worry about one being locked and the other one not. So let me save this and actually try to run it. Where's my console? Nope. Try not to look up that IP address. Hold on. Apparently I've been doing some other things. Buttons. Please work. Okay, so it's connected to the Arduino, and now Oh, you can't tell. But you can see, actually, there's a little light that goes off here. This relay is turning on for 2 seconds. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, you know what? Because I don't have the camera on. Thank you. Hi. So, again, I'm pressing this button. It's turning this relay on, which is not actually turning on this other thing. Let me just... Cool, except the relays are not turning on. Oh, that's why. Haha. You have to make sure that the pump's plugged into the power. Again, it's usually a little easier when I'm not building it live and it's on television. Sorry, I'm just going to plug in the second one in here. Over here. Let's try this again, just to make sure you can see. There we go. Maybe you can't really tell, but that was on for 2 seconds. Turn on this. There you go. That's been on for 2 seconds. So great. Now it's a slightly smarter thing. Now let's internetify it, and really quickly because I'm actually running out of time. First, let me turn this off. So the one thing I wanted to try, which we've never done before, which will be interesting, is basically the way it works is we usually do it with Twitter, and we just started doing it with, we would throw up a post on Facebook and also use the hashtags in the post. The thing I really wanted to try was instead using Facebook reactions, and this Facebook Pages has webhooks. So instead of, basically what we would do before is every 30 seconds we'd scrape that post, see how many new votes there were. Instead, if this works, the way it's set up is when we go live on the page, which on that page that I told you about at the beginning of this, we'll get the signals from those reactions. So basically, you can see just really quickly, and I'm going to have to, go through this just super fast because I don't want to explain how the Facebook API works. That's, again, a different session. But basically, if you can see right there, when you get the reaction of haha, and you post that, it will pour the red wine, or if you hit the reaction wow, it will pour the white wine. So let me quickly hook these up, and we can actually do this. Oh, maybe I do need your help turning. There we go. Yes, I did buy this wine at CVS. Sorry, I know that you can get much better wine locally. I apologize. So you just put the in tube in here. Actually, I should probably check to make sure I've got the right one, but I'm just going to go with it for the moment. And then, woo. The in tube into the red. And really shouldn't do this. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah, this is where I could electrocute myself. Put the red over here. And, oh, the white wine came out. That's what flashed me in the face. Thanks for the heads up, guys. This is slippery. The white wine will go in there. And hopefully stay, please. I'm going to tape that down. Shit. Sorry. All right. So as I mentioned before, you want to prime the pump, so I'm just going to do that really fast. Okay, it's coming out. Where's the other? This is the problem of making this button super small. Here we go. You can see the red wine. It's coming through. And coming into the glass, and don't come out. All right, and so really quickly, I'm going to turn the camera to here. There's the console node. Okay. Okay, we're going to go live, hopefully. Going to show that poll. All right, in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. All right. So hopefully, if you liked the page, you'd be getting an alert in a couple seconds. If you didn't like the page, go to facebook.com/winebotlive. You should be able to vote. I've put my phone away. Is literally nobody voting, or is this not working? There we go. Okay, and if that worked, no. There we go. Sorry. Thank you, Ruben and Jonathan, for voting. So the Facebook Live is actually doing this a little bit faster than the WineBot is because it's got a faster direct connection to the API. In case you're wondering, you may have noticed none of this actually used Twilio, though this Facebook Live uses a program called VidPresso, which uses Twilio WebRTC. So I did work it in there. So you guys can keep voting. I'll keep this going until they kick me off, which will probably be any second now. But as I say, if you have any questions, reach out to me on Twitter. We're also experimenting with using Purple for interaction with our audience, and we're going to experiment it on me, apparently. So if you will text Pinsler to that number, you can also ask me questions that way. And that's it. Thank you so much.